everyone, this is Steve Rozenberg with Mynd Property Management. Today I'm joined with Kyle Stevens, who is the San Diego Portfolio Manager for Mynd Property Management. Kyle, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, Steve, thanks for having me.
So what I'd like to know today is when you have a rental property in San Diego, what are some of the things that probably will break most often and that you can expect on, things being broken in your San Diego rental property? If you give me maybe the top three things.
Totally. So I think one of the reasons why a lot of these issues kind of become bigger than what they need to be just simply stems down to, performing basic routine safety and leak inspections. So visiting your property, whether it be yours or somebody else's as property managers, one of the things that we do pride ourselves in is conducting these routine safety inspections. They can range from a variety of different objects, from appliances to light bulbs, even to electrical issues. But one of the main priority items I would say are definitely leaks. So that can be, toilet valves to, angle stops to basically, caulking in bathrooms, things of that nature. So performing routine safety and leak inspections are definitely critical. They can help prevent, major issues from occurring in the future.
Yeah, water. I know water in general is never good if it sits or it's rushing and there's a leak, because you could take a problem that could be a $50 problem and it could turn into thousands of dollars in mold because you either ignored it, the resident ignored it, or nobody knew about it. And so those are the things I agree. That's how, doing inspections on the property, that's why you do inspections, is to make sure you catch these things that maybe you catch them when they're small before they become huge boulders. And now you got to figure out how to figure this out. So I agree. So that's one. What's number two?
Correct. And I would say number two, in terms of the structure of the home and just, the overall well-being, I think part of that routine safety inspection would be smoke and carbon detectors. I think those two items are definitely should be on your high priority list of things to look at and make sure that they're up to code and functioning correctly. Not only can smoke and potential fire cause property damage, but if you have tenants and residents living inside, you could be looking at a lot more trouble potentially just due to a faulty smoke detector.
Right.
Same goes for carbon, and I think those two items are definitely high priorities and should be on your list of things to look at in a home.
Sure, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So I would say between water and detectors, things that will essentially cost you money with your San Diego property. We can kind of touch base on more of the bigger picture, which I guess would kind of entail marketing your home. So back to, we kind of discussed this in another video, but when you're overpricing the home,
Sure.
That can also lead to, homes being vacant, sitting on the market, less and less prospects being interested in the home,
Yeah.
Minimal showings, things of that nature, which can ultimately cost you as the investor and homeowner more money in the long run.
Yeah. Also, even, I'll take it a step further. When you have a resident in the property and you raise the rent because you think you should, and it's above market, and then the tenant leaves, now you have a make ready, you've got a vacancy, and you've got to get it leased. So now you've got a 3-problem cost because you raise the rent maybe a couple $100 as opposed to leaving the resident in the property. And it all just depends on what the market bears. If you want to be the highest price, it's a free market, it's capitalism. A tenant can leave once their lease is up. And that's not something that you want because you tried to make a couple $100, but it ended up costing you thousands of dollars. And it could be 2 years of cash flow if you get a property that's vacant for, several months. So yeah, I agree. Pricing is huge. People always think of maintenance as a major cost, but you're absolutely right. Not having someone in that property and not having it generate revenue, it's a huge cost because you've got expenses going out the back end. And if you don't have revenue coming in the front end, it's a cost, it's a problem. So that's a very good point. What would you say the third thing would be?
Yeah, so I think those were some good points. And I think my third item would kind of coincide with what you were discussing during the lease expiration process. Typically if you are going to be raising a rent on a tenant during their lease term, as of January 1st here in the San Diego market and in California, we do have rent control. So this kind of makes me jump back into understanding the laws within your city and your state. Back to your lease expiration example and turnover process of a resident leaving, or whether they're leaving or they're not, you're kind of trying to find a rent increase that you want to impose on the residents. You want to be sure that it's within a certain guideline and standards so that you're in legality or within the parameters of the law. So that's another big thing I would say that, could essentially cost you money if you're not cautious and careful when doing so. You definitely don't want to end up in court for, something that you just weren't aware about or something that you didn't quite understand. So I would say being within the parameters and understanding the laws within San Diego and California is definitely a huge factor that could potentially cost you money with your rental property.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people, like I said earlier, a lot of people think maintenance, but it could be litigious, and you got to make sure that you are running your business correctly. You want to make sure that you know the laws, you stay within the confines of the laws, both local, state, and federal, and you make sure that it's you as the investor are the one who is responsible. Just like us at Mind, we are responsible to make sure that we are operating within the laws, and that's something that you want to make sure that you are, because the last thing you want is you bought this investment property and you didn't realize you were doing something wrong, but you were. And then you find out that there's a legal ramification of cost and or fines and other sanctions that probably could get pretty ugly depending on the situation. So definitely major things. A lot of people think of maintenance as the number one cost, but I would say number 3, litigation. That could be one of the highest costs that somebody could have on lawsuits. You got, again, AB 1482 rent control that just passed. And there's a lot of people that don't understand it. There's a lot of nuances to it. And you want to make sure that you are abiding by what the law states regarding that. So Kyle, if somebody wanted to learn more and get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Definitely. So we have our website. It's just mind.co, so mynd.co. You can contact us there through our website. Or we also do have a phone number. You can give us a call that way as well, whichever is easiest for you. Our phone number is 833-4MIND. So website or phone number, either way works. And I look forward to talking to you if you have any questions here in the San Diego market.
That's great. And for those of you that want to know more about real estate investing and you want to be involved, you can go ahead and join our Facebook group. It's called the Mastermind Real Estate Investment Club. There you'll be able to engage and converse with other fellow investors, have questions answered, get dialogue going to get current up-to-date questions answered. And we also have a podcast show. It's called the Mindful Investor Podcast Show. There we have industry-leading real estate experts on the show talking about not only all their successes, but also their failures and how they overcome them and how they do it on a daily basis to become successful and stay successful. That comes out every week. It's on iTunes. You can subscribe there. It's called The Mindful Investor. And again, on behalf of Kyle and myself, I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see everyone later. Bye-bye.